more depth than the word actually, the way that it's used widely. It has more engagement components to it than just being included and being representative. So it's more of an engagement part. It's not, it's having representation, but it's actually having people engaged in the process.
Is there a distinction between inclusion and diversity and tolerance? Or what are some of the differences?
Acceptance gives a little bit of depth to what she was talking about, the establishing a relationship or going beyond just polite sitting beside each other.
You know, tolerance to me means I'll put up with you. Engaged in being at the table, or being at the table and engaged is very different. Next.
We're making a movie, and rather than having a bunch of walk-ons or stand around, we've got some speaking parts. That's the way I see it.
How important is that to our overall quality of life to be known as inclusive and diverse?
I think that the only way to really achieve that is to actually bring people to the table that we may not feel comfortable listening to, and being able to create that safety place where people can actually speak their minds and maybe tell you what they perceive as a lack of diversity in our community, etc., and empower them to continue to participate.
Inclusiveness is acceptance of differences, and what I see a lot of times in Greenville is that we accept each other as long as we fit into the category that we think we should fit into, and so there's a separation between, there's, you know, segregation.
I think with the communities, a passive acceptance or a tolerance, or even having inclusivity, if you're going to build a community that's well integrated, you got to be aggressive in approaching that. And this is a diverse region in the upstate that requires us to have that kind of attitude about it. And if we don't establish those kind of understandings, that rather than just have a place at the table, you've got to seek out people to be a partner in your growth.
That people feel valued and that they feel respected, so that it's part of that whole picture that they're not only tolerated, but they're valued for their differences, for their opinions, for what they can bring that I can't bring. So when I manage a group of people, I try to select people who are different from myself, so that I bring other points of view to the table, and that'll make us all strong.
I think there is a good bit of illusion of inclusion in Greenville. You may be, as Janetta Cole said, you may be in the house, but you're still not at the table. You may be at the table, but you're still not heard. You have no power. I've been there. I've been around tables, and I thought I did. My voice mattered. I thought things did make a difference, but in the end, the voice was never heard.
We've got Hispanics, we've got white, we've got black, we've got gay, we've got straight, we've got single, married, old, young. It's all there. It's just not integrated.
When I moved here, I didn't expect for a town in South Carolina, especially its size, and I've lived in California, San Diego, Toronto, Australia, where it's very cosmopolitan, and there's a level of integration in those cities that boundaries are crossed in ways that I haven't seen here, but I'm surprised just to see the level of diversity, especially international community.
What are some of the diversity tensions in Greenville?
We go to so many meetings that are diverse in who is sitting in the room, and the prayer is in the name of Jesus. That's a cultural thing that's accepted here, but from someone from anywhere else in the country attending that first meeting and hearing that sends the message. If words are louder than, or actions are louder than words, it sends the message that we are not an inclusive community.
If you look at who gets the money, I just feel that we're still in the back burner. I just feel that minorities sometimes do not get the financial support that they need to really break away, to really get the services or the education that you may need. I feel that a lot in our work, that thankfully we have collaborations going on with different organizations, but still it's very difficult to convince people to invest in these newcomers, in these new communities that have a lot of potential if they just had more financial resources.
Friends I have that come from up north are very impressed with how
diverse and how inclusive we are in this area. But having lived in South Carolina all my life, I don't think we are there. And Charleston has demonstrated when you have a blighted area, if you leave it alone, it'll be a cancer. If you invest in it, you're healing the whole of the community. And the same economic philosophy is it strengthens everybody.
One of the significant diversity issues here in the upstate or in South Carolina is political. And being anything other than Republican is, you've really got to watch what you say, and it's, there's a very tight rein around how business is done in the upstate.
What really bugs me sometimes about Greenville is that diversity is only 9 to 5. And then after 5 o'clock, we retreat into our separate churches, retreat into our separate camps. Don't date my daughter, don't date my son, and we'll be fine. But yet, I'm on the diversity committee at work. So what does that mean? What does that look like?
And diversity is more of an active word than it is passive. And so when people start thinking of diversity as representation and don't get into the part of engagement and more of what the results can come from diversity is an active term. If we look at our environment, there's diversity in our environment, and it's happening naturally. And when diversity starts happening naturally, a lot of things are happening, but it's not just so people can benefit from it economically.
From my aspect, diversity starts in the home. Children don't, at a certain age, they don't see black and white or white and Hispanic, or they don't see that. They see, this is my friend and he's accepted in my home.
Describe for me some of your dreams for inclusion in Greenville in the next generation or so.
More women in politics, opportunity for people to sit at the table and be heard because they are diverse.
A dream that you can come from any of the areas in Greenville and accomplish goals that you want to accomplish.
Good. Walking out the door and seeing how other cultures are represented as contributing to Greenville.
What can we do now in Greenville to fix some of the potential?
Collaboration is something that is very easily said, but it's very difficult to actually do, because that means that you discuss issues and that you agree upon sharing resources. We need to create a community that truly cares about everybody, and that means not only helping Hispanics, not only helping, certain group of people, but actually collaborating and sharing that.
We need to continually have this dialogue, continually bring this to the attention of everyone in the community, continue to talk about it everywhere, anywhere, anytime.
Challenge your preconceived notions or your assumptions. We have to move away from assimilation and move towards acculturation, because maintaining your identity and then working healthy among other people, I'm not going to seek a fellowship or a collaboration effort with Calder because he's different from me from a gender or race perspective. I'm going to seek collaboration because Calder has something to contribute towards something that needs to be accomplished. Really listening to who people are and seeking them for working on something together, but maintaining your strength, maintaining who you are, and bring your whole self to the table.
Institutional elements of power in the community that keep status quo, ask them to have the conversation, and then ask them to be accountable for the outcome.
Push that vision in the hope that the change will come somewhere along the way.